Hey, Fluffy. How did it go last night? Did you have a good time? Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a great time last night. I actually am looking. I made a little bit of money out of that, and
Congrats.
I got a reading out of that, and I have another client that's reaching out right now, trying.
We are now live on Facebook, and I think it's time. I would love to introduce all of you to my really good friend. Hello, everybody. To my really good friend and amazing healer, Bridget Salmaggi.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
So, and I love that. I love that we are connecting. This is probably the most that I've been connecting with you, Bridget, in our whole time as,
House.
besties.
Yes.
So, Bridget is an incredible Reiki practitioner. She is. When I say she, when she says she's a Reiki master, I say yes, she definitely is. She also taught me how to tap in a certain way using different modality, different methods that she's incorporated, and in the way she connects with people and heals people it inspires me. And I like to think of myself as a healer, and when I see Bridget heal people, I get super excited thinking that I can do that as well. So, Bridget, thank you so much for having us and coming on board. And just so you know, I'm checking Facebook Live from time to time to see if anybody has any questions. But I thought what we would do is I would love for people to know how did we meet? What's your practice? And then if it's okay for people to just start asking you some questions to get to know you better.
Sure. I'm going to interject, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you all for allowing me to share this time with you. Two things. I'm not comfortable with the terminology of master. I think that although that is the term of my level of advancement in the practice of Reiki, I think that mastership is something that is a lifelong practice, and it is a lifelong way of living. I don't think, I had this really dear friend who left the planet last year, and he used to say, anytime we think we've arrived, we're really effed. So I think that the term master gives that kind of impression that someone has arrived someplace. And I think that we're always moving, right? Because that's what we want to be doing. And the second point is, as far as being a healer, I know that I'm never the source of healing anyone. I assist that person in accessing the healer that dwells within them. Okay, and my approach to my practice is that way. I think it's important that we recognize none of us are giving anything to each other that we don't have. We might have different tools and different ways to access this great divinity that dwells within, but I'm not going to give you your divinity. You have it. Okay, you're not going to give me mine. I have mine. So the great thing about us gathering as community is we get to share, well, this is what I do to access who I am, what do you do to access who you are. So I hope that our chill and chat time is going to be filled with all of our different skills and tools on accessing the beautiful healer that dwells in us. Okay. I need to
go Bridget.
tweak that a little bit. Yeah, I need to tweak that a little bit.
Okay, so I will respect your position on master. I will then say this, that you are so incredibly human that you know when to move on rather than hold on. And I do believe that is a little bit of a advanced thing. So I respect what you say, and I also want to acknowledge that. So, all right. So Bridget, let's first of all talk about divine things. Okay. Raise your hand if you do not believe in divine things, so that we can tell a story that may prove otherwise. Anybody? Go! I love you, Fluffy.
Yay, Fluffy.
So I would love to talk. So Bridget had this magical trip, and I would love for her to talk about this magical trip from her place in Long Island to West Coast.
Okay. So I've been wanting to go to California for many years. I think it was 5 years ago, my 35th wedding anniversary, and someone gifted me a ticket anywhere in the United States. So I said to my husband, you've been promising to take me to California. I'm actually going if you want to come. And I booked my trip, and I could not book, someone gave me a gift card, so I couldn't book his flight and my flight online because I had a gift card. So I ended up having to call, this is a lot of detail, but it was so magical. I ended up having to call the airline and explain to them about the gift card. And I explained what I did to you. I'm waiting all these years to go to California. Lovely conversation with this young woman. She gave me some suggestions in different places, and okay, I'm all excited. So we're on the airplane. I booked the middle seat because my husband loves the window. But as soon as I got in the seat, I thought, I cannot sit in this seat for this trip to California. So I went, we hadn't taken off, and I went up to the flight attendant and I said, if you could help me, I really don't want to sit in the middle seat. And it was very good of him. He turned around, he was very honest and said, did you book your seat? And I said, yes. Well, why did you book that seat if you had no intention of sitting in it? So I appreciated his candor. And I said, well, I was trying to accommodate my husband. It's our anniversary. And he said, your name isn't Salmaggi, is it? So right away, I feel like I'm on, a candid camera or something. I said, yes. He said, oh, good. I don't have to go looking for you. We all received an email about you being on the flight today. And, I don't know who you know in JetBlue, but obviously you know someone big. I know no one in JetBlue, no one. So I'm thinking, what is going on here? So they come over, they get my husband. He's the kind of guy that if his seat says this, he's never getting up. He's not breaking the rules. The man practically had to pull him out of the seat. They give us these beautiful extra length spaces, headphones, all the meals we want. Do we want wine? And before we're taking off, the pilot said, ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to put your hands together and congratulate Bridget and Henry on their anniversary? It was bizarre. It was bizarre. So that started the magical trip. Everywhere we went, people accommodated us. So now it's getting towards our last day. Everything was magical. I won't go into all the detail. And my husband, we went into, was it Benicia, the town? Benicia. And there's signs up all over, psychic fair tomorrow. Now, my husband knows I would enjoy something like that tremendously. Him, not so much, but me, yes. He goes into the shop that Cynthia happens to work in and says to the person behind the counter, my wife would have really enjoyed the psychic fair tomorrow, but she can't be here. Is there any chance somebody could read her today? He doesn't know. You don't ever do that for someone. It's sort of like a connection you make yourself. So not saying anything bad about the person who was standing in front of me, but there was no way that I was going to be comfortable with this person in my energy, which I'm going to stop here and invite all of you to always respect that knowing, regardless of the person's credentials, regardless of the person's degrees or whatever. If your gut doesn't feel good about this person for whatever reason, you don't let them in your energy. Just like you would not open up the front door of your house and invite a stranger to come in, okay? So it was that type of thing. No, thank you so much, but I'm not really interested. And out of the corner of my eye, I see Cynthia standing in the doorway. Well, it was all I could do to not run over. So I mouthed to her, "Do you read? Are you a reader?" And she nodded. And I don't even remember getting to the doorway, but I was there. And maybe we sat together, not even a half an hour, right? It wasn't even a half an hour. I said,
Not
I
even.
think I want like an hour reading. And Cynthia said, "No, I don't think so. I think we'll just have a little, I do this fifth dimensional reading. I had no idea what that was. Are you interested? Yes. Yeah, I'm interested in anything. Whatever you're going to do, I'm good." And we made this connection, and that was, to me, we were waiting to be where we were spiritually to meet each other so that we could assist each other in doing our work on the different coasts. So a little time passed, but not too much. And Cynthia started doing some work here with my East Coast people. And now I'm honored to be meeting her West Coast people. So I think that was divine timing. Everything about it was so fluffy. I don't know if that convinced you, but it was pretty magical.
It was super magical. Just so you know, I not even anymore, but at that time, I was only at that store once a month. So I had to be on that particular day at that particular time. And I was in a place, I was in the reading room where the doors are usually closed, but I happened to open up the door and take a look just because something was a little bit different. So I opened it up, and that's where we are. The other thing I want you to know is that, again, that was over 5 years ago. And Bridget and I kind of kept in touch, just to, it's just like we're not really sure about each other. We just know we liked each other. And then something lined up that I ended up in Manhattan. And so I called her up, and she actually answered the phone.
Yeah,
which is what she always does for me. And she doesn't always do that. She just says, "I heard you were going to call." And I went out to Long Island, my first time ever, fell in love with that place. And I hung out there for a couple of nights, and she offered me a place to stay, which is, who does that? It's not like we were besties, but I consider her my bestie. She is one of my besties. I love her. So here's the thing that I will tell you. Bridget is one of those people that it takes in all the things that she learns, and she makes it her own, while being very respectful to the practices that she has. So she's very respectful to her Reiki practice, as well as to the other modalities. So if anybody has any questions for Bridget, please answer as we go, or ask as we go along. Otherwise, I would love for Bridget to talk about her practice, how she works with her clients, and also she's one of those brave people that actually you've been spending your practice. I think you were going to the VA, right? To VA places to do Reiki on vets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, as progressive as California is, I don't think there are any Reiki practitioners doing that. So
I think very recently I have someone I met during my, I actually went through someone else's Reiki circle, because I do think that we all have these beautiful gifts, and it's wonderful to go as a participant and get to enjoy someone else's presentation. Even if it's something you're well versed in, it's lovely to be a guest. Everyone likes to be a guest, right? And this person came up to me and said, "Someone told me that if I connected with you, you would help me work with Reiki and veterans." Within a year, she was the director of the program assisting veterans for the Mental Health Association of Long Island. So that was sort of pretty funny. And the way it came about was my daughter jumped out of an airplane, called up my dad, who was a paratrooper. He was 77 at the time, and said, "Hey, Pop, I just jumped out of a plane. I think we should do this. This was really fun." So he said, "Well, I'll do it if we raise money for something." So Dara went online, my daughter, and looked up, who are we going to raise money for? We need to do it for a veterans organization. we happened to connect with this veterans organization that was starting right then. We were their very first event, their very first fundraiser. And I think that was, we're not doing it anymore because the skydive place closed. I think we jumped maybe 8 or 9 times once a year. And just from, small, everybody's pocket kind of thing, we raised a pretty decent amount of money. And then we were able to connect the politicians that would come to the event for sharing whatever they were presenting. We procured a $10 million grant for the veterans, and that's been ongoing since it was instated, I think it was 3 years ago. So it's a $10 million grant given every year for veterans for a peer-to-peer support group. So they take care of each other. A couple of times a year, we go and we teach the veterans Reiki. Because Reiki, for those of you who aren't familiar with Reiki, it means universal energy, Reiki, very loosely. To me, it is divine grace. It is such a simple way to access everything that's divine within you that I teach classes of children as young as 8 years old. It's so profound with regard to people suffering with PTSD that the first time we taught a group of veterans and we were explaining to them how important it was to be quiet, and we got a lot of feedback how that wasn't something they were really able to do. Being quiet was really a challenge for them because they would hear all these things they didn't want to hear. We accepted all of that. I haven't had that experience. I don't know what it's like to have these voices talking in my head. We took away the feedback we got, and it empowered us to know that we had to go back to this group and we needed to say, no, we're going to help you be quiet. This is really something really important for you to figure out how to do. And this simple practice is going to help you do that. And I'm happy to say, I think we've trained over 50 people. They are offering Reiki now in our local VA hospital. Anyone who wants to receive Reiki can. And it's amazing to hear the peace that people have gained from accessing this simple knowing that they are not separate from everything that's divine. So for those of you unfamiliar with Reiki, I would encourage you to seek out a Reiki practitioner in your area and experience it, because it is amazing, absolutely amazing. And simple.
Has anybody here not had Reiki? Raise your hand. Everybody here's had Reiki?
You're all Reiki people? Yes! So you know what I'm talking about. Anyone a practitioner? No. Yay! Terrific. How long have you been practicing?
About
I
2
was
years.
first attuned, can you hear me?
Yes.
I was first attuned 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
It was part of a massage program.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a question.
Sure.
So, when I was first attuned, my teachers gave me the idea that there's that Reiki is one specific vibration of energy. But nowadays, lately, I see lots of Reiki practitioners are, they're advertising themselves as different types of Reiki, like wealth Reiki, love Reiki. And then there's a couple teachers on YouTube, and they have like 1 million Reiki videos for everything. Reiki for peace, Reiki for money, Reiki to remove money blockages, just 1 million things. And so I do feel that there are some differences in the energy output of those videos. So is that still actually Reiki, or are they adding other energies into the base of Reiki? Like, what is that? Do you
Well,
understand my question?
I do understand your question, and certainly I cannot speak for the person because I don't know who they are or what they're bringing to the table. What I can share with you is, right from the start, Reiki was brought to the United States. Mikao Usui did not discover Reiki. He is the lineage that I follow. He put together all different knowings and philosophies and understandings into his Reiki practice. He then passed on what he discovered to be and philosophies and understandings. Oh, so it's like a reverberation. Okay. So what happened then was he started to teach. It would take you like 10 years to get to a master level of Reiki when he first was teaching. It was brought to the United States. It was only taught to traditional Reiki was taught to only Japanese people. Okay. And it was a practice that was done by different people other than him. He's the one that really probably made the most significant impact because he ended up opening up a hospital with a traditional doctor. So that gave a lot of credibility to the type of work he was doing. There was a woman here from the United States. She was actually from Hawaii, and she was of Japanese descent and returned to Japan for various reasons. There was health issues in her family. She herself ended up having health issues when she was there and ended up avoiding traditional medicine and instead going to the clinic that Mikao Usui had opened. So she recovered and started to be schooled in the practice of the Usui Reiki Ryoho. Okay, that method of teaching. She returned to the United States and brought this beautiful practice with her. That was the first time it had ever come here. Okay, now
I'm familiar with the history.
Okay, so what happened then when she passed, 22 different Reiki masters, 22 different students of hers were trained. So when she died unexpectedly, she did not leave anyone in charge. Okay, so right away from the start, you had 22 different people saying, this is Reiki. This is Usui Reiki. Okay, so right from the start, you had this, which honestly, I think was spirit driven, because Reiki is, to me, divine grace. And it's going to manifest and present itself very different in each one of us. So I have knowledge of people who find that using Reiki energy in the care of animals is their calling. So because they're working with animals doesn't mean their Reiki isn't the same Reiki that I'm using working with people, plants, the planet. So I do think that as with anything, it's important to make a connection with a person before you will do any kind of energy work with them. But I wouldn't really say someone's Reiki was credible or not credible based on the name that they're giving it. Okay, so I don't think that you're calling in a different energy. Reiki 1 energy is 1 energy, okay? Reiki 2 energy is actually not Reiki 1 revved up. It's an energy that actually raises your body frequency, and your body frequency stays there. It can never go back down to what it was, whether you purposely say I'm giving someone Reiki or I'm giving myself Reiki, your body frequency is raised once you're attuned Reiki 2 and higher, okay? So am I getting to your question? Am I answering your question? No.
Not quite.
Okay, all right, so then let me go a little further. There is, for example, Jikiden Reiki. Okay, now that's taught by a practitioner who feels Frank Arjava Peta, and he feels that the Western version of Reiki was very, very different than the Japanese version. So he made it his mission to really find out how Mikao Usui practiced, rather than Mrs. Takata, who brought it to the United States. So he felt it was his role, it is his role, to teach more traditional Japanese Reiki. But because he's doing that, I don't think it makes his Reiki more important or less important than the Reiki that I'm practicing, which is based in the Western version, which is Mrs. Takata. Okay, I think it's a matter of people's integrity and being genuine to what it is they're doing.
Okay. Then how does it, so if people are branching out and making really different varieties of Reiki that differs a lot from the original, then how is Reiki different than other types of energy work then?
Well, I'm going to think of the few, I incorporate all the different energy techniques and modalities that I learn. They're part of who I am. They're not separate from me. So to my practice, I bring the limited knowledge I have about essential oils, I'll bring that. What I know about Eden energy medicine, I bring that. So I think Reiki is assisting someone in accessing their healer that dwells within them. So I don't have two of the same kind of sessions, even with the same person, because the person I'm meeting the person where they are, where their energy is. And I allow myself to be guided to direct the energy in a manner that's going to meet them where they are in that moment. So I think Reiki is always moving and changing. It's not a stagnant thing. It's not, this is Reiki, this is Reiki, this is Reiki. I think it's more of, this is Reiki. It's a flow. It's a flow. And it is a matter of, again, let's say I wanted to attract abundance in my life, right? I'm going to go online and see this person doing Reiki to attract abundance. The first thing I'm going to want to do is find out about this person. I'm going to want to have some kind of connection with them before I do any energy work and allow them to enter my energy field. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I do think that there's Celtic Reiki, there's Jikiden Reiki, there's Usui Reiki, and then those 22 people, there's 22 different types of Usui Reiki right from the get-go. So I don't think one Reiki is better than the other. To me, Reiki is divine grace, and everyone has that. Whether you're attuned to channel more of that energy or not, we all have this divine grace within us.
Okay, just to be clear, I'm not trying to figure out which one is better. I'm trying to figure out. So basically what I see is a lot of people advertising themselves as Reiki masters, and I have the same feelings as you about the master label. But anyways, I see a lot of people saying they're Reiki masters, but then when I learn like their background, I learn, well, they're also incorporating all of these other things. So it's
into their
not
practice.
just Reiki.
Right.
They're just slapping that on as a overall label, and it's just very confusing.
Can I interject here for just a moment, Amy, and hopefully this will kind of help you out. There's a reason why I love Bridget. Her integrity is high. Her energy level is always at its highest level, and she's always looking for it to be a best service. Okay, and this is why we're attracted, or I'm attracted to her. Wink, wink, Bridget. So that's with other healers as well. Now Bridget brings all her modalities together while still being respectful to her her forefathers, I think is the best way to say it, or her lineage. I think that's the best way to say it. Everybody brings their own version to it, even if they're under one teacher, because we're all different people. And some people actually do believe that at their level, that whatever they're bringing as a healing is what's going to help people. So you'll know if there are people who are saying Reiki for wealth, you'll know whether you vibe with them or not. Does that make sense? And so to me, it's like what Bridget says: is energy is energy. It is divine grace. And but I will also tell you that I'm a human being, and my divine grace is very limited, right? Because I'm bound by body. And there's, you know, once I surrender that and have the greater energy, then I get to elevate, right? More knowledge, more understanding, you know, not so judgy. But I like being judgy, so this is where I stay, right? So so what I see is that these people are giving their best, and if their best is clouded by you know, a form of ego, they're going to attract those people. So if you're not attracted to them, it's not that their Reiki isn't pure. It just means that you're not attracted to them because they're of a different vibration. I think and to me, different vibrations is also not a judgment. I just like hanging out with the people that I vibe with, right? I like people who can appreciate my weird, and I totally dig theirs. So I don't discount those people. I just believe, and I don't believe Bridget is either. It's just, you know, that's not her playground.
Also, Amy, I do feel a great sense of integrity with regard to expressing to a client, this is not Reiki. However, I think it might be helpful for you if we could work with this together. I do tell people, if someone comes to me for a Reiki session, I'm not going to do something else with them. I'm not going to do Eden energy medicine work with them without expressly asking them if that, like when I have monthly Reiki circles, I ask that anyone who's sharing be just sharing Reiki, because I do believe that you need to honor what the person has signed up for. I'm not going to do work with somebody that they haven't signed up for. So if you felt that you were interested in a service that someone was providing, and you wanted to make sure, hey, I'm really here, I'm signing up for Reiki. And I'm not signing up for magnified healing. I'm not signing up for therapeutic touch. I'm signing up for Reiki. And that's really what I want you to share with me, that is really, should be honored. I don't share other modalities without expressed agreement of my client.
Okay. I think other people are though, so that's the.
Oh yes, I
Yeah.
would say people are. So that's why all of us need to be discerning about who we allow in our energy bodies, who we allow in our front doors. Yeah, it's very personal.
Yeah.
Trust that gut, Amy. You got a good gut.
Yeah, it's the same as like there's a reason why we are here in this meeting, because we all have an energy that matches. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it wouldn't be interesting to you, right? Or you know, we wouldn't be interested in the subject. And that's the thing that I think is so amazing, is how we are all attracted. So listen, Bridget has a wealth of information on a bazillion things. Does anybody have any questions about spirit, about bodies? Does anybody have any questions about tapping and Eden energy method or anything else? Go ahead, Janet.
Well, I do. I practice I was in a spiritual practice called Tsukyo Maikari, and we did Reiki Okiomi, and I saw some pretty miraculous stuff using it. But I also learned these prayers, and I wore a holy locket to help me channel this energy. But one incident was a woman got drunk and she broke her leg, and she was in a great deal of pain. So I gave her Reiki Okiomi, which is raising my hand, and I didn't even do the prayers, and she was out of pain within a few minutes. So I can you explain that? Is that my divine energy or the energy of coming from me or God or what, you know.
I believe any healing that takes place, all healing that takes place, is the willingness of the person to heal, connecting with spirit. It is God's energy. If you want to, if you're comfortable with saying God, universe, divine, people, you know, I hate people to get caught up in a word. You can say God to someone and they're totally offended and they don't want to have a conversation anymore. But yes, it is that, it's never my energy. I can do, well, I do know my limit. I can't give more than 3 Reiki sessions a day because then I can't sleep. I am so jazzed up, I feel like someone should go out dancing with me. So it's not my energy. I'm allowing the energy to pass through me, additional energy to pass through me, through my heart, out my hands, out my eyes, out my being, to ignite, to assist the person who is willing to heal, to ignite their healer that dwells within themselves. If somebody shows up here in my space for a healing, they're going to have a healing experience. It may not be what they thought. They might come because they're having discomfort with, let's say, their right leg. And, you know, they may have a physical experience that their right leg isn't bothering them, but more profoundly, I find a lot of times people have a good indication of what was going on for them that manifested this physical symptom to start with. So I think Reiki is much more than assisting someone's physical body. It's assisting them in accessing their divine ability to see how it is they're finding themselves where they are, how they manifested. Because I think the physical body's the last stop. So when something happens with my physical body, even though it's not comfortable to do all the time, I need to look at what is going on in my energy world. What's happening for me? I'm having a terrible stomach. Did I eat something that wasn't good? Or is there something about my life I'm having trouble digesting? And I need to look at that. For example, I had a very stressful experience this past year, the most stressful experience I've ever had. And I had a lot of physical discomfort in my stomach. I've never been somebody that had difficulty with their stomach. And I knew that I needed to do the work. I needed to do the work about what I was having trouble digesting before I could clear up what was happening from my stomach. And when I did the work, my stomach issue disappeared. Okay, so I do think this person may have come to a profound understanding that perhaps getting that drunk, falling down and breaking your leg is a big message that maybe I need to do something different about. So perhaps her immediate profound experience was so that the energy could get her attention and she could realize that she could connect to this energy that maybe she was totally unaware of until you had that experience with her.
Her bone was sticking out and she was in terrible pain when I touched her. But after I gave her light, she tried to get up on her own. I mean, it was pretty profound, and I talked about it in our study group. And the leader, it was just really kind of shocking to me, you know, because I didn't spend any more than maybe 5 minutes raising my hand on her.
But it was your willingness to give that. It was your willingness to be that.
My husband saw it too. He was shocked, you know, that she would get up try to get up, and she was no longer in pain. It's like I numbed her, you know.
Well,
and
I would say, I hope you're doing this work. I hope that you are assisting people in connecting to their inner healer, because obviously you're comfortable with it, and the energy passes through you very nicely. So that
yes, it does. I mean, it's to a point. I even talk to spirit, or they come out of people when I'm raising my hand. I get sent to the hospital by the church when I was at the church, and I never made any money. I did it in the name of my church. You know, I didn't do it. I did it for free. You know, I went to where people were dying. They were in pain. and no morphine could help them. And I raised my hand and something came out of them and was speaking a different voice and coming at me because they didn't like the prayers. They didn't like, something made them uncomfortable. And then she stopped moaning in pain after I was done with her, giving her the Reiki. So
Yeah.
Reiki Okiomi, what we called it, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, how do you explain that?
Well, I think that the way we explain that is we're connecting to the knowing that we're more than our physical form. We're very powerful spiritual beings. Obviously, we're all here at this unprecedented time. We all chose to be here on this planet because every single one of us is needed. We're the light. We're bringing the light. We're the light bringers. And the lights, and we're prevailing. And we're gathering. And more than ever, we're asking the questions. Well, if I'm this powerful, what am I doing with my gifts? Am I using my gifts? We need to be using our gifts, not hiding them under a rock.
Thank you.
Hey, Melissa, you still have a question?
Hey, thank you for your time.
Oh, Mo.
Hi.
Sorry, I was reading your.
Okay, either way,
Sorry.
Mo, Melissa, all the same.
Okay.
So a comment. My first experience of Reiki having it done to me was mind blowing. And then after a couple of sessions, I thought, oh yeah, I need to learn this because whoa, that's intense stuff. So I went to a teacher, took a course, and I felt nothing. Felt just totally flat. Nothing. Just like, wow, it's not at all what I thought it was going to be. And I'm considering learning more, moving forward with Reiki again, in terms of healing animals. And my caveat to that is I really would love to do a healing modality that makes lasting changes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, does Reiki make lasting changes? Is it my understanding or limited experience is that it's something that has to be done again and again and again and again? Is that correct? Am I understanding it wrong?
Well, it's not a matter of understanding wrong. I think for everyone is different. I've had clients come, have a profound experience, and never have a need to come again, or never have a desire to come again. I'll hear from them and they'll say, that was so profound. I have such a good understanding of myself now. And I don't ever see them again. And then I have clients that come every 2 weeks and have been coming for years. They like to come for a tune-up. So they feel coming and affording themselves an opportunity to lie on the massage table for 45 minutes to an hour and have a profound intention to connect to their healer, assist them in accomplishing whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. So what I think, the fact that you're saying working with animals, what I find that working with animals and children is that they don't have this ego attached to, oh, is this going to work? Is it going to last? Do I have to do this all the time? They allow. Reiki is about allowing. It's not about making something happen, forcing something to happen, wanting something to happen. It's about allowing something to happen, allowing us to connect to the knowing that we are here to live joyfully, to have healthy bodies, to have healthy minds, to be connected to who we really are. And the only thing that gets in the way of that is our own self, our own ego. Okay, now having said that, it's very funny, all of a sudden my head is very, very busy. So I'm gonna just take 1 second and address the busyness the information I'm getting about that. Okay, so my human is interfering with getting a clear message of what was being said to me. But basically what was tipping off for me when I was talking was, while I was speaking, I was hearing, well, what about somebody who was born with a deformity? Well, you know, they didn't, that was coming in. And so I'm going to say this. We each signed up for something. We've all signed up. We've all signed up. Okay. We've signed up, believe it or not, for the families we were born to, for the states we live in, for our level of wealth, or blah, 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 our lessons to be learned while we're here. And I do think that all of us have the potential to be and do anything we want, truly. So it's a matter of what feels right. Now, for example, I was not seeing in-person clients for this COVID. New York was very bad first. A funny thing happened. I started having a remote practice, which I had already been giving distant healing, because you can do that, but I didn't ever do it this kind of forum. I started to have a remote healing practice with people I never met and people who never experienced Reiki. And my in-person clients, with the exception of one, felt like, oh no, I can't do that. I want to be like close to you. I want to feel the energy touching me. So it's very interesting. I think it's a combination of what our clients are bringing, who we're bringing to the table. Who am I bringing as the healer? When I sit and give myself a healing session, am I really open to the energy bringing me to see what I need to see, to hear what needs to be heard? Or am I saying, okay, I think this would be a nice experience that I could feel relaxed, and that's it? I may be stopping the energy from saying, Bridget, really? Are you involved in having this kind of thing again? So I do think it's very personal, and I think it has much to do with where we are in our allowance of the Reiki energy doing what it can do, which I think is truly limitless, truly. Did I answer you? Yeah. And perhaps you might be a little more discerning about who your teacher is. Okay? I hope I didn't insult your teacher. But energetically, like Cynthia was saying, no judgment on the person. You have to have a match. I mean, we all go to a different hairdresser for a reason, or not, right? Or a dentist. It's just like anything, you know. Actually, it's a little more profound, because we're really allowing that person in our intimate space, in our sacred space. So please, you never have the sparrow say, I don't think the hawk will eat me today. Let me just land right next to him. Not happening. So why do we, and I'll speak for me, why do I sometimes override my gut, because I don't really want to make Fluffy feel uncomfortable. So I'm going to just, you know, right? Or I don't really want Cynthia to feel bad, even though I don't feel really comfortable and I don't want her to read me. If I had gone with that woman that my husband asked for the reading, I would never have met Cynthia, right? So we need to honor our gut. Okay.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
I have one.
Go, Fluffy.
I have a friend, and every time I try to do energy work with her, when I'm done, I try to flush out anything that's been built up. Or if I do an energy clearing, every time I start taking energy out of her, she experiences pain. And then the more we do it, the more pain she feels.
That's very interesting. Yeah, and probably disconcerting.
Extremely.
Yeah. Perhaps, do you think there could be a resistance to her really not wanting to let go of the things that she's holding on to? Could there be a thing of like, who will I be if I don't have these things anymore?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
she says there's not. That's not how it is. And I just flat out don't believe her. But I am also aware that she might be right and I might be wrong.
well, I think that, yeah, we don't really, I don't think we can ever say for sure. What I would suggest, when I have an experience like that with someone, I suggest that perhaps they might want to work with another practitioner, and I refer them to someone that might not know them as well as I do. And that person might be more successful in having them be more willing to be expose themselves because
Okay.
they don't know them. That might be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any other questions? Go ahead, Mo.
Do you teach?
Yes.
Ah, all right.
There's a
Now we're
reason
getting-
why I invited Bridget. Bridget's an amazing teacher.
I
Yeah.
do teach.
Woo.
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I have never taught remotely. Um, I really don't know how well, initially I felt that no in-person training is really the way to go because you get to have this experience of feeling the energy. And Reiki is about the experience. We can talk till the cows come home, but feeling the energy is really the thing that grabs people. Now, about a year ago, I was contacted by a surgical nurse who received her Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 training online. So, to be really honest, I was like, she's not really trained that's where I went, to be honest. So I expressed to her, I didn't express it that way, but I did say, well, I was a little unfamiliar with how somebody could be trained. Even though I know Reiki worked remotely, I didn't know that I was very comfortable doing a
It's
master.
just bread, carrots, and tea.
Go ahead.
Doing a mastership program with someone, and I suggested to her that we meet. So she came here, and she was the most prepared for the mastership program than any student I had ever had, even my students that I trained Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. For her, the remote training, she was so invested in the knowing that it was imperative for her to really do it, or she would not experience it. So she had to keep giving Reiki to people because that was her only opportunity of experiencing Reiki was giving. So I teach the mastership program as an apprenticeship kind of thing. And this is my personal feeling, I just don't see how in a weekend you can learn what you need to learn to assist your students in becoming Reiki, because Reiki isn't something I do, it's something I am. So that's where I take my students. Let's go to the VA home. Let's go to the mental health facility. Let's give Reiki to populations of people that you may not encounter on your own. Okay, so this woman was so well versed because she had taken herself, she had done that herself. She had taken herself to different places to share Reiki. When you first get trained, you say to someone, would you like a Reiki treatment? They're like, yeah. At least when I was trained 20 years ago, they were fearful I might turn them into a duck or something. So you try to grab everyone you can. She was so prepared for this. So that was a big, long answer to you, that I do have 2 students that have asked me to do virtual teaching, and I do see myself going there.
Yeah, 3. I just want to add something, which is when you're looking for a teacher, okay, or anybody, and we're talking about integrity, there's another thing that I didn't tell you about my experience with Bridget. And Spencer's on here, and I could tell you about a teacher that we share together through martial arts. you look at their students. Bridget's students are amazing. They're caring, they're kind, they're generous. The fact that they go to VA to do this as part of their practice is an amazing thing. It's a great give back. With Spencer and I, we do martial arts together. And if you took a look at our teacher, she takes a bunch of, I called us misfit toys. So whenever we go to the studio, and I said, welcome to the island of misfit toys. But here's what she did. She brought out the very best of us. And she's the one that teaches us. She sat on the floor one day with all of us, and she lovingly put her hand on the floor, and she says, this is a microcosm of your life. Everything you experience here, you'll experience outside. And so I get to see my teacher being imperfect on the floor, but I also see her bringing her best self to be an example for us. So think about these things. You know, you don't always have to do a background check. Take a look at their students, and there is no better reflection of the teacher.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, your students are amazing.
Yeah.
Super loving and kind.
They are. Well, I do think that Reiki, I think that Reiki calls us rather than us seeking Reiki. It sort of taps us on the shoulder, asking for us to share this really simple way of people accessing their true self. My very favorite class was 8-year-old girls. And I was brought in my best friend, Chris, who's a teacher of nursery school, for real tactile things for them to do. I thought, how am I going to keep their attention? I was the student. They were amazing. They understand. As soon as I started talking about energy, they started to talk about, oh, well, I know what you mean. So-and-so tries to steal my energy in the playground. Now, if we could be so smart to understand, what am I hanging with this person who's stealing my energy for? The kids get it, because their ego isn't in it. They're not, oh, I don't know about this. Most of us were raised with no one telling us we were energy. We were taught how to take care of our physical body. We were taught about, our brains and keep those emotions to yourself kind of thing. Nobody said we were energy. To me anyway, nobody said, Bridget, you're energy, and if you don't like something in your body, you can just move it out. So it's very, very foreign. Children, they still remember that. They still get that. They had no problems putting their hands on each other's back, and like they were almost like dominoes. For some reason, I felt that would be a very good experience for them, to just line up and put their hands on each other's backs. I was watching them. It was almost like dominoes. The energy just went back and forth so freely, because nothing got in the way of it. They all allowed. They all came to the class, not even really understanding what the class was about, and they all left with like full-size drawings of their energy bodies. It was, for me, I was on a high for weeks. It was really good stuff. So you don't have to be at a particular spiritual level to be able to learn Reiki, because we are Reiki. We are divine grace. And the class just teaches us how to access that and get those things out of our way that say we're not who we are.
So listen, we are up on time, and I want to make sure that I'm very respectful of everyone here because of the way our lives are these days. Does anybody have any last minute questions? Bridget, if you don't mind hanging out for just another couple of seconds, you all can leave at any time. But before we do that, Bridget, what are you up to?
Well, I'm just so loving your connecting with your coast, with the West Coast. I would like to offer a 1-hour class. That's an hour goes fast. I realize that. However, I would like to offer a class about boosting the immune system and revitalizing ourselves. So vitality and immunity would be the focus. And I'd like to offer some different things that I do that assist me in being healthy and energetic. And we could take it from there. If it's something that we find that we like, then maybe I would offer a 4-week course in various topics.
Can I add something to that about, is that okay, Bridget?
Yes.
So just so you know, Bridget and I are part of this fantastic trio that does this thing called Spiritual Boot Camp. And we are lucky to have 2 people. Just so you know, these people, one of us has only experienced Bridget once, not even in person, and the other person has experienced Bridget twice as of today. I would love to hear a little bit of what you learned, Laura and Frida, so that people can just see how amazing Bridget is. And just to let you know, Bridget was she did a 45-minute gig last week, and she was at 30 minutes this week, and these people love her. So what's up? So Laura, you want to talk about how you?
Sure, yeah. Well, I want to say that what you both discussed about when you vibe with a person, I think that's especially important when you're trying to address things that are so intimate and so important. And I felt like that watching Bridget on this Zoom recording. And for me too, I love studying chakras and that type of energy work. And it came through that you had such a deep understanding of it. And when you walked us through each chakra, it just resonated with me in a very powerful way. And I like the way that you have a respect and appreciation for how different disciplines can become your own personal practice, because that's something that I look at, and rather than feeling disjointed and piecemeal and a mile wide and an inch tall, I could see in you how you can embody these different skills and harmonize them to become your own strength and power. So that's what I want to do, and I see it in you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I see it in you. So that's it. I think it's easy for us to see that in someone else, and perhaps oftentimes we don't appreciate that we're doing the same.
Yeah. What about you, Frida?
I would say so. Bridget is amazing, but it really translates. So I did it each morning, except for one morning. The day that I didn't do the healing work, I definitely felt a notable difference. So I could definitely say that from doing that for like 5 days, like I noticed a difference in the energy work. And I was unfamiliar with chakras and unfamiliar with anything with the Reiki, and it's really resonating with me. So I appreciate that.
I'm glad that you're finding it to be empowering.
So Bridget, what day and time? We've got Hawaii and we've got West Coast. Yeah.
Okay. So I forgot that time difference stuff. I was thinking of, I have a lot more flexibility in my life for sure on a Friday, because I'm finding myself as a child care provider Monday through Thursday with my grandson. Life is, COVID life is very different. So I have, I'm thinking of Friday. I was forgetting the time. I was thinking Friday the 14th.
Okay.
With regard to the time, what works best for you, the daytime or the evening? Or for me, you're ahead of me? No, you're behind me. So I'm flexible either way.
Let's do afternoon, if that's okay with you, because then that would be like noonish for us, and then it would be 9 o'clock for Laura. Right?
Okay.
Is it 3 hour difference, Laura? So is that all right with you, Bridget? Does that work?
So what time is that for me?
That would be like 3 o'clock for you. Is that okay?
That's great, because we've done that before, you and I.
Yep.
Yeah, tell me what time that is for me. So 3 o'clock.
So August 14th.
Yes.
So it's 3 p. EST,
Yes.
noon Pacific, and then I don't know Hawaii time what that's called, but we'll call it Aloha time.
Aloha. I like that. So it'll be immunity and vitality. And what I'd like to do is,
It's a bag of groceries. It's heavy.
Go ahead.
what I'd like to do is, I will record it so that this way you can revisit it, okay? Because I don't know about you, but I have a million folders from all those beautiful workshops I went to, and I had every intention of revisiting them, and I never do. But if it's something I could watch, my impetus for doing that will be increased. Chances are I will rewatch it. So we will record it so this way that you can have it. I'm going to put this out for $55 for the session, but for everyone that was listening today, we can do $45. And anyone who, everyone's work situation has been challenged. So anyone that would find that to be a challenge, please just personal message Cynthia, and that won't be a challenge, okay? I don't want people to not participate in something because they're not able to for financial reasons, okay? Cynthia or myself will put together a little flyer with some additional information. I'll put in how you can get in touch with me personally, how you can get in touch, well, you obviously know how to get in touch with Cynthia. And if there are specific things that you would like to be addressed in this immunity vitality presentation, I'd like to hear about them beforehand so I can make sure that I have something that fits what you're looking for. Sound good?
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Bridget and I are going to get together. We're going to make an event on her Facebook page, and then I'll share it on Sexy Edgy. And if you're not on Sexy Edgy, please let me send you my email. I'm going to send it right now, which is syntuition@gmail.com. Or you can find me at my website, which is cynthiavarkavisser.com, which is not the easiest name in the whole wide world. But, email me, or you can messenger me through Facebook. And that's how you spell my name. Don't wear it out. I haven't said that in decades. That's freaking hilarious. And I'm happy to connect you with Bridget in any way possible. Also, I want you all to know that I'm putting Bridget on the spot because I'm a jerk that way. I'm going to ask her to that we do a round 2 for spiritual boot camp. We will switch the times up so it's not so early in the morning, but highly recommend that you come. It's 3 days a week. I'm thinking that we may go instead of 3 weeks, we may do 6. I'm not sure if we'll stay with 3-week increments, but I'll ask the people who are in the boot camp for their feedback. So are you up for that, Bridget?
Well, what I like about the boot camp, what I particularly like about the boot camp is the fact that it's affording everyone an opportunity to have a routine. And the fact that you get half your money back if you show up every time.
Oh yeah,
it's a great way to get you to come. I love that. I think that's really wonderful because sometimes I need a little kick.
Yeah, so we dangle that carrot.
Mm-hmm.
So come on in, participate. You don't, we've got a way around it so that you don't have to be there, 5 minutes early and stay 5 minutes late. There's it's there for you. So yes. So I'm going to let you all go. It's 12:15. Super, super grateful. Thank you so much, Janet. She's going to be part of our chill and chat in just a couple of weeks. So I'm super excited about that. And Bridget, would you mind being part of this again, especially after boot camp happens?
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and maybe we'll throw.
I enjoyed seeing all of you.
All right, sweet. All right, thanks so much, everybody.
Great
See you in the
weekend.
future chillin' chats and on
Thanks.
Facebook group.
Remember, we're here for a reason.
Exactly. See you all later.
Take care.
Okay.